Welcome back to the channel The Coin Empire, where today we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious, fascinating, and potentially life-changing coins in American numismatic history. A coin that at first glance looks like nothing more than a simple old penny, but in reality could hold a value so massive that it has stunned collectors and sparked debates across the coin collecting world. And that coin is the legendary 1950 Wheat Penny, a small copper coin minted in Denver that, under the right circumstances, with the right combination of rare errors, minting mistakes, and unusual characteristics, has been rumored and speculated to reach values as high as $84 million. And while that number may sound unbelievable, what makes this story so captivating is not just the price itself, but the journey of understanding how such a humble coin could ever reach such heights. So let's explore every detail, every possibility, and every hidden factor that could turn an ordinary 1950 Wheat Penny into one of the most valuable coins ever imagined. Starting with the basics, the 1950 Wheat Penny was produced at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was transitioning through post-war economic changes, and millions of these pennies were struck using standard copper alloy compositions, making them common in circulation. However, as with many coins of that era, the real value lies not in the standard issues but in the rare anomalies that occurred during the minting process. And these anomalies are where the story truly begins, because minting errors are essentially accidents, moments where the machinery, dies, or planchets did not behave as expected, resulting in coins that differ from the intended design, and collectors prize these differences because they are unique, unpredictable, and often extremely rare. And in the case of the 1950 Wheat Penny, several types of errors have been discussed and documented, each contributing to the coin's potential value. One of the most significant possibilities is the presence of a double die error, which occurs when the coin die itself receives a misaligned impression during its creation, causing the design elements such as the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile to appear doubled on the final coin. And while minor doubling can be found on various coins, a strong and dramatic double die on a 1950 penny would be exceptionally rare and highly desirable, potentially driving its value into extraordinary territory. Another possibility that adds to the mystique is the existence of off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned within the press during striking, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted to one side. And while many off-center coins exist, those with a perfect balance of error and readability, where the date and mint mark are still visible, can command significant premiums, especially when combined with other errors. And then there are planchet errors, which occur before the coin is even struck, involving flaws in the metal blank itself, such as cracks, laminations, or incorrect compositions. And one of the most intriguing scenarios involves the possibility of a 1950 penny being struck on the wrong planchet, for example a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. And such an error would be incredibly rare and could instantly elevate the coin's status among collectors. But perhaps one of the most talked about and speculative factors is the idea of transitional errors, coins that were struck during a period when the mint was changing materials or processes. And while 1950 is not typically known for major composition changes like the famous steel pennies of 1943, the possibility of experimental or test strikes cannot be completely ruled out. And if a 1950 Wheat penny were discovered with an unusual composition, significantly different weight, or unique metallic properties, it could represent a previously unknown mint experiment, making it one of a kind and potentially worth millions. And beyond these physical errors, condition plays a massive role in determining value, because even the rarest error coin must be preserved in exceptional condition to achieve record-breaking prices. And this is where grading comes into play, with coins being evaluated on a scale from poor to mint state. And a 1950 Wheat penny with a rare error in pristine, uncirculated condition, showing full original luster and no signs of wear, would be exponentially more valuable than the same coin in worn condition. And collectors often seek coins graded at the highest levels, such as MS-67 or above, where even the smallest imperfections can make a difference of thousands or even millions of dollars. And as we continue to explore the possibilities, we must also consider the role of rarity and demand. Because value is not determined by rarity alone but by how many collectors are actively seeking that specific coin, and in the world of numismatics, certain coins achieve legendary status due to their stories, their mysteries, and the excitement they generate, and the 1950 wheat penny with extraordinary errors fits perfectly into this category, especially when rumors of multi-million-dollar valuations begin to circulate, drawing attention from both seasoned collectors and curious newcomers. And this surge in interest can drive prices even higher, particularly in auction settings, where competitive bidding can push a coin far beyond its estimated value. And another factor that cannot be ignored is provenance, the documented history of a coin's ownership. Because coins that have been part of famous collections or discovered in unique circumstances often carry an added layer of prestige. And if a 1950 wheat penny with significant errors were traced back to a notable collector or a historic find, its story alone could add immense value. And then there is the element of discovery, the idea that such a coin could still be out there, hidden in a jar of old pennies, tucked away in a forgotten drawer, or passed down through generations without anyone realizing its true worth. And this possibility fuels the excitement and keeps collectors searching, examining every coin with hope and anticipation. And it is this sense of possibility that transforms a simple penny into a symbol of hidden treasure. And as we piece together all these factors, the errors, the condition, the rarity, the demand, the history, and the mystery, we begin to understand how the value of a 1950 wheat penny could theoretically reach extraordinary levels, even approaching the staggering figure of $84 million, especially if a truly unique specimen were to emerge, combining multiple rare errors with flawless preservation and a compelling story. And while such a coin would be an extreme outlier, the world of coin collecting has shown time and again that extraordinary discoveries are possible, and records are meant to be broken. And so the legend of the 1950 wheat penny continues to grow, inspiring collectors to look closer, to learn more, and to never underestimate the value of even the smallest pieces of history, because sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones we least expect. And as you continue your journey in the world of coins, remember that every detail matters, every mark tells a story, and every coin has the potential to surprise you. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, the next life-changing discovery could be waiting right in your pocket. Next, 1950 wheat penny coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins ever discussed in the world of rare coin collecting, a coin that many people might have overlooked in their pocket change for decades but could actually be hiding an unimaginable fortune. We are talking about the legendary 1950 wheat penny, especially the rare 1950D and 1950S variations. Coins that in very specific and unusual circumstances have been rumored, debated, and analyzed by collectors and experts as being potentially worth up to $80 million due to rare minting errors, extraordinary preservation, and extremely unusual production anomalies that transform an ordinary copper coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And today we are going to explore in incredible detail exactly why this coin can reach such unbelievable value, what kinds of errors and mistakes make it so special, and how you might be able to identify one yourself if you ever come across it, because the truth is that most people underestimate how valuable a simple penny can become when the right conditions are met, and when history, rarity, and error all collide in one tiny piece of metal. Now let's begin by understanding the background of the 1950 wheat penny itself. This coin belongs to the famous Wheat Penny series minted from 1909 to 1958. Featuring the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat ears design on the reverse, a design that has become a symbol of early 20th century American coinage and is highly respected among collectors worldwide. By 1950, the United States Mint was producing pennies in massive quantities across different mint facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and under normal circumstances these coins are extremely common and worth only a few cents unless they are in pristine uncirculated condition. However, the story changes dramatically when we start to examine rare minting errors, die variations, and unusual production mistakes that can occur during the minting process, because these errors are not supposed to happen, and when they do they create coins that are unique, scarce, and highly desirable. One of the most important categories of errors that can elevate a 1950 wheat penny to extraordinary value is the double die error, This occurs when the coin die receives a misaligned impression during the hubbing process, resulting in a noticeable doubling of the design elements such as the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. And while minor doubling is relatively common, extreme doubling that is clearly visible to the naked eye can significantly increase the coin's value, especially if it is authenticated and graded at a high level. Another critical error type is the off-center strike, where the coin is not properly aligned during the striking process, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. And while small off-center strikes might not be extremely valuable, dramatic off-center strikes combined with a visible date and mint mark can command very high prices due to their visual appeal and rarity. But the real excitement begins when we talk about extremely rare combinations of errors, such as a double die combined with an off-center strike, or a misaligned die combined with a clipped planchet, because these multi-error coins are extraordinarily rare and can be considered one-of-a-kind pieces. And it is these kinds of coins that have the potential to reach astronomical valuations, including the rumored $80 million level, especially if they are discovered in near-perfect condition and can be verified as unique specimens. Another fascinating possibility that collectors look for in 1950 wheat pennies is the presence of transitional errors. Although 1950 is not widely known for major composition changes, any evidence of unusual metal mixtures, improper alloy blending, or planchet errors where the coin was struck on the wrong type of metal can instantly elevate its value to incredible levels. For example, if a 1950 wheat penny were discovered to have been struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or another year's composition, it would become a major numismatic discovery and could attract intense bidding from collectors and investors alike, pushing its value into the millions, and potentially even tens of millions if the circumstances are extraordinary enough. Die cracks and cuts are another category of minting anomalies that can add value. These occur when the die used to strike the coin develops fractures or breaks, resulting in raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. And while many die cracks are relatively minor, large and dramatic cuts that significantly alter the appearance of the coin can be highly collectible, especially if they are well documented and rare within the specific year and mint mark. Speaking of mint marks, the 1950 wheat penny from the Denver Mint is particularly interesting because certain die varieties and error combinations have been reported more frequently in this mint compared to others, making it a key focus for collectors searching for valuable examples. Similarly, the 1950s from San Francisco has its own set of potential anomalies and characteristics that can influence value. But beyond errors and mint marks, one of the most crucial factors in determining whether a 1950 wheat penny could reach extraordinary value is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and the difference between a circulated coin and a pristine mint state coin can mean the difference between a few cents and thousands or even millions of dollars. A coin that has never been circulated retains its original luster and shows no signs of wear is far more desirable than one that has been heavily used. And when you combine a rare error with a high-grade condition, the value can skyrocket exponentially. Now let's explore the concept of uniqueness and provenance, because these are the factors that truly separate a valuable coin from a legendary one. A coin that can be proven to be unique, or one of only a handful known to exist, will always command a premium. And if that coin also has a documented history, such as being part of a famous collection or being discovered under unusual circumstances, its value can increase even further. Collectors are not just buying a piece of metal, they are buying a story, a piece of history, and a connection to the past. And when all of these elements come together in a single coin, the result can be a valuation that seems almost unbelievable. Now let's consider the role of market demand and collector psychology. Because value is not determined solely by rarity, it is also influenced by how much collectors are willing to pay. And in the world of rare coins, there is often intense competition for unique and high-quality specimens. Wealthy collectors and investors may be willing to pay extraordinary sums to acquire a coin that completes their collection or represents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and this competitive bidding can drive prices to incredible heights, especially when the coin in question has been heavily publicized or is considered a major discovery. This is how a coin like the 1950 wheat penny with exceptional errors and perfect condition could theoretically reach a value of $80 million. It would require a perfect storm of rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance. But it is not entirely impossible given the right circumstances. Another aspect to consider is the possibility of undiscovered varieties. The world of coin collecting is constantly evolving as new discoveries are made and new varieties are identified. It is entirely possible that there are still unknown errors or die varieties within the 1950 Wheat Penny series that have yet to be discovered. And if such a coin were to be found, it could redefine the entire market for this year and potentially create a new benchmark for value. This is why collectors are always encouraged to carefully examine their coins, use magnification tools, and stay informed about the latest research and discoveries, because you never know when you might come across something truly extraordinary. Now let's talk about authentication and grading. Because no matter how rare or unusual a coin appears to be, it must be authenticated by a reputable grading service in order to achieve its full value. Professional grading services use advanced techniques and expert analysis to verify the authenticity of a coin and assign it a grade based on its condition. This process provides confidence to buyers and sellers and ensures that the coin's value is recognized in the marketplace. Without proper authentication, even the most impressive coin may struggle to achieve its true potential value. So if you believe you have a rare 1950 Wheat Penny, it is essential to have it evaluated by professionals. Another important factor is preservation. Coins that have been properly stored and protected from environmental damage are far more valuable than those that have been exposed to moisture, chemicals, or physical wear. Even a rare error coin can lose significant value if it is damaged or improperly cleaned, so collectors must take great care to preserve their coins in the best possible condition. Using protective holders and avoiding unnecessary handling. Now imagine the excitement of discovering a 1950 Wheat Penny with a major error. Last 1952 Wheat Penny coin. Today we are uncovering another unbelievable story from the world of rare coins. A story that might sound impossible at first but becomes more fascinating the deeper you go into it, and that is the mystery and potential of the 1952 Wheat Penny. A seemingly ordinary coin that in extremely rare and unique circumstances has been rumored to reach a staggering value of $77 million due to rare minting errors, unusual production mistakes, exceptional preservation, and the powerful forces of collector demand. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, then stay with me, because by the end of this deep dive you will understand exactly how a small copper coin from the early 1950s could ever be considered so valuable, and why collectors around the world continue searching for hidden treasures like this every single day. Now let's begin with the basics, because understanding the foundation is key to understanding the value. The 1952 Wheat Penny is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was minted from 1909 to 1958 and features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and two wheat stalks on the back, symbolizing prosperity and unity. These coins were produced in massive numbers across three major mint facilities in the United States, including Philadelphia, which produced coins without a mint mark, Denver, which produced coins with a D mint mark, and San Francisco, which produced coins with an S mint mark. Under normal conditions, the 1952 Wheat Penny is a common coin, and in circulated condition it is worth only a few cents to a few dollars depending on its grade. However, everything changes when we begin to explore the world of minting errors and rare varieties, because that is where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. One of the most important and valuable types of errors that can occur on a 1952 Wheat Penny is the doubled die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin receives a misaligned impression during the hubbing process, which results in a visible doubling of the design elements such as the date, the lettering, and even Lincoln's profile. While minor doubling is not uncommon, strong and dramatic doubling that is clearly visible without magnification is extremely rare and can increase the coin's value significantly, especially if it is found in high-grade condition. Collectors prize these coins because they represent a mistake in the minting process that was not supposed to happen, and therefore they are seen as unique and special. Another highly valuable error type is the off-center strike, which occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned within the collar during striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more visually striking and valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, because that allows the coin to be identified and authenticated. Now imagine a 1952 Wheat Penny that Combines a strong double die with a dramatic off-center strike, and you begin to see how rarity can multiply and create something truly extraordinary. But the story does not stop there, because there are many other types of errors and anomalies that can contribute to a coin's value, including clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing due to a miscut metal blank. Broad strikes where the coin is struck without the collar, resulting in a wider and flatter appearance, and die cracks and cuds, where the die itself develops fractures or breaks, causing raised lines or blobs of metal to appear on the coin's surface. Each of these errors tells a story about the minting process and adds a layer of uniqueness that collectors find incredibly appealing. Now let's talk about one of the most exciting possibilities in the world of coin collecting, and that is the concept of wrong planchet errors. This occurs when a coin is struck on a metal blank that was intended for a different denomination or even a different year, and while this is extremely rare, if a 1952 wheat penny were discovered on such a planchet, it would immediately become a major numismatic discovery and could command an enormous price at auction, especially if it is the only known example. This kind of rarity, combined with the historical significance of the Wheat Penny series, could easily push the coin's value into the millions, and in extraordinary cases even towards the rumored $77 million mark. Another factor that can dramatically influence the value of a 1952 wheat penny is its condition or grade. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from heavily worn to perfect mint state, and the difference in value between these grades can be enormous. A coin that has never been circulated and retains its original luster with sharp details and no signs of wear is far more valuable than one that has been used in everyday transactions. When a rare error coin is also found in near perfect condition, it becomes exponentially more desirable because it represents both rarity and preservation, which are two of the most important factors in determining value. Now consider the role of mint marks, because they can also play a significant part in a coin's rarity and desirability. The 1952 D wheat penny from the Denver Mint and the 1952 S from the San Francisco Mint each have their own unique characteristics and potential for rare die varieties. Certain dies may have been used for a limited number of strikes before being replaced, which means that coins produced from those dies could be extremely rare, especially if they contain errors or anomalies. Collectors often specialize in specific mint marks and are willing to pay a premium for coins that fill gaps in their collections, especially if those coins are known to be rare or unique. Now let's explore the idea of die varieties and how they can contribute to value. Dies are the tools used to strike coins, and over time they can develop small differences due to wear, polishing, or manufacturing inconsistencies. These differences can result in variations in the design, such as changes in the shape of letters, numbers, or other details. Some of these varieties are well documented and sought after by collectors, while others may still be undiscovered, waiting to be found in someone's collection, or even in circulation. The possibility of discovering a new die variety in a 1952 wheat penny adds an element of excitement and potential value that keeps collectors searching and studying these coins year after year. Another important aspect to consider is provenance, or the history of a coin. A coin that has a documented history of ownership, especially if it was part of a famous collection or discovered under unusual circumstances, can command a higher price because it carries a story that adds to its appeal. Collectors are not just buying a piece of metal, they are buying a piece of history, and the more interesting that history is, the more valuable the coin becomes. Now let's talk about the role of market demand, because even the rarest coin in the world needs buyers who are willing to pay for it. In the world of high-end coin collecting, there are individuals and institutions with significant financial resources who are constantly looking for unique and rare pieces to add to their collections. When a coin like an extraordinary 1952 wheat penny with multiple errors and perfect condition becomes available, it can attract intense interest and competitive bidding, which can drive the price to incredible levels. This is how a coin could potentially reach a value as high as $77 million, especially if it is considered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now imagine the discovery of such a coin, perhaps hidden away in an old jar of pennies or passed down through generations without anyone realizing its true value. The moment it is identified and authenticated, it would become a sensation in the numismatic world, attracting attention from collectors, dealers, and the media. It would likely be sent to a professional grading service for authentication and grading, which would confirm its authenticity and assign it a grade based on its condition. This process is essential because it provides confidence to potential buyers and ensures that the coin can achieve its full value in the marketplace. Without proper authentication, even the most extraordinary coin may not reach its true potential. Preservation is also critical. Because coins that have been properly stored and protected from environmental damage such as moisture, heat, and chemicals are far more valuable than those that have been damaged or improperly cleaned. Cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value significantly because it can remove the original surface and luster that collectors prize. So it is always important to handle coins carefully and store them in appropriate holders to maintain their condition. Now let's consider the broader historical context of the 1952 wheat penny, because this was a time when the United States was experiencing post-war economic growth and the demand for coinage was high. The mint was producing large quantities of coins to meet this demand, and in the process occasional mistakes were inevitable. These mistakes, which might have been seen as insignificant at the time, have become highly valuable today because they represent deviations from the norm and provide insight into the minting process.